Are you a movie buff? Do you love dissecting and analyzing your favorite films? Look no further than the Projection Booth podcast. Join host Mike White and a bevy of guest experts as they explore the history, themes, and legacy of cult classics, obscure gems, and mainstream hits. Join us every week for a unique and engaging look at your favorite movies. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and tune in to the Projection Booth podcast, available on all major podcast platforms.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, creeps. It's me, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and you're listening to Chronicles from the Crypt.
Hello, kiddies! It's me, Casualty Chris! Yeah, he's corpsing over there real hard. I'm trying not to laugh.
I was unprepared for the Crypt Keeper voice.
I know, it's okay. It's not as good as John Kassir, but then again, as long as he's not doing a Jamaican accent, what is?
True.
We are the hosts of Chronicles from the Crypt, a twice-a-month look at the horror anthology series Tales from the Crypt that aired on HBO from 1989 to 1996.
Now, in each of our podcasts, we do 2 episodes of the television series Tales from the Crypt, and along the way, in between seasons, we do Tales-related ephemera, and we've got one coming up after this, and that'll be it for bonus episodes.
And as for Season 6, this is the end. Like Father Malone said, we normally do 2 episodes, but because we didn't want to just do one episode on one episode, we're doing 3 episodes. So we're rounding out Season 6 with a look at episode 13, 14, and 15, Comes the Dawn, and we'll get to that fucking title. And another title. God, the titles. These first 2 titles. This second one is a fucking trash can. Atrocious. 99 and 44, 100% pure horror. And you, murderer.
Oh, hello, creeps. It's your old pal, the Big Scarehooner, enjoying a little surf and sand. Hey, babe, want me to rub a little suntan lotion on you? Ooh. Boy, do I love the beach. Hey, you! Watch it!
Get a tan!
Boy, I hate getting sand kicked in my face. I'm not your average 98-pound weakling, you know. For one thing, I don't weigh that much. I tell you, kiddies, I'm going to get that guy. Which brings to mind the 2 men in tonight's terror tale. They're on a little shriek and destroy mission of their own, in a nasty undertaking I call Comes the Dawn.
So if you're asking yourself, Comes the Dawn, isn't there an episode of this show called Came the Dawn? Yes, there is. I don't get it. Before we talk about Comes the Dawn, do you understand why there's an episode of the same name. Came the Dawn was last season.
Yeah, well, I suspect
that was that Brooke Shield episode, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it certainly was with the cabin.
Oh yeah, where the guys, where it's the J.K. Rowling fever dream, where it's a trans woman killing people.
Right.
Great.
What a good one. I suspect that. Well, with each of the episodes, like no matter how much they go afield as far as the plot or characters go, they always retain the title, except one time, I guess, Revenge is the Nuts, which was... Anyway, I'm digressing. So I'm assuming because there were so many titles at EC that Came the Dawn was from... I think Came the Dawn was from Shock Suspense Stories, and Comes the Dawn is from Haunt of Fear. So they, when they were writing them, assumed people were getting different issues of different comics, so it wasn't that big an issue. But it kind of becomes an issue when you have a straight-ahead television series and you kind of keep naming episodes effectively the same thing.
And, Come On Eileen was already taken, so...
Ba-dum-bum.
That was a Ba-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Ting. So this episode is directed by John Hertzfeld. It is written by Scott Nimmerfro again. He wrote 11 episodes of this show.
He's the MVP?
He has shown up more than anyone else.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would go as far as to say MVP. And this episode has Michael Ironside in it. And Susan Tyrell, who, if you're a fan of Oingo Boingo, like I am, like Father Malone is, you'll recognize her from Oingo Boingo's The Forbidden Zone. And it's about vampires, I think, in Alaska. So, 30 Days of Night, it's like that, but really bad. And also with a character whose name is Colonel Parker, unironically.
True. Which is interesting. I'm sure that was a choice of Scott Nimmerfro's. The comic book...
It has to be.
Yeah, Comes the Dawn as a comic. It is from Haunt of Fear 26, written by Otto Binder and drawn by the amazing and impressive, and there are not enough superlatives for Jack Davis. Now, here is a freely adapted story in that what we get in the episode is two former military guys wanting to hunt bears. Is it just grizzlies, right? Which is illegal. In the original comic, it is three gentlemen who have come to Alaska to find uranium. They are uranium prospectors, and they have a guide who takes them out to this place. They've already flown over the area, and the Geiger counter went crazy, so they know there's a mother lode of uranium, and they're all going to be rich beyond belief. When they land, they have an Inuit guide who takes them there, but before they get in the dog sled to head out to the cabin, there is a coffin encased in ice near the landing strip for their makeshift airport, and the Inuit guide says, don't touch the coffin, the vampire's in there. Every year it thaws out and it causes havoc, but we've got it frozen and we don't want it to get out. So they go off to the cabin, and then one guy decides he wants to bump off the other two so he can have all the money for himself. He goes and releases the vampire, and then it chases him back to the cabin. He calls the other two out and says the vampire's coming, and then he runs in the cabin and closes the door, and the vampire kills those other two guys. And the whole thing is told in flashback because he's already in the cabin, barricaded himself in, with the vampires trying to get in at him. And of course he thinks, I just have to wait this out till dawn, and then I'm a rich man. And just like 30 Days of Night, just like the episode we see, he realizes it's winter now, and there's not going to be a sunrise for, a month or so. Kind of.
Can we point out for a second that not remembering the sun doesn't come out in Alaska is like forgetting that San Francisco is on the coast?
Yeah.
Like, what fucking universe do you... Of all the things in this episode that bug me, the fact that the entire finale of this episode is predicated on the character being so stupid he forgot that the sun doesn't come up for like 6 months in Alaska.
Yeah, now with the comic, at least it's a bunch of uranium prospectors and effectively idiots who are, aimless people and have gone up there because they heard about it. But with the episode, we're given he's a colonel or a general, and his aide is like a lieutenant, and the guide that they procure is also military, and they would know. They would just know. So yeah, it doesn't. It's a payoff that is unearned because it makes the lead character really, really dumb.
Well, I can't even tell who the main character is because at one point I'm assuming it's Bruce Payne playing Colonel Parker, because he's the one who ends up being the final character to die. But it should be Michael Ironside, because he's the one pushing the narrative along. And then ultimately it's neither of them. It becomes Jerry Drumbeater.
Yeah, she is the titular vampire, although it's not in the title.
It's really disappointing to me to see an idea like this one. Again, not talking about the fact that the movie is essential, or this episode, not touch on the fact that this episode essentially is 30 Days of Night, that same concept that would end up being mined a lot more by Stephen Niles, I believe his name is. It's just not a good episode.
No, and well, I think it's shot pretty well as far as the look of it, but it doesn't deliver the scares, which this is a built-in scare factory. It's The Thing, but with vampires in the wilderness, and they're in a wrecked former military hut out in the middle of nowhere. Like all the elements are there for a really good, either scary or gory. I mean, we get some gore, but as far as tension goes, like, it's all there, and it pays off not at all. And I got to say, like, in the comic book, at least it was like the guy and the vampires out there, like, scrabbling around outside trying to force his way in, and that the comic worked. Like, I thought that's a pretty tense situation. And this, they eschew all that so they can, have this boring narrative with the, their military service. This is like directly after the Gulf War, when they made this episode. So I'm sure Scott was trying to make a comment on that or something, but, where he takes the story is boring, and it just doesn't, I don't know. It's not the worst one of the season, clearly, but it certainly isn't the payoff that we were hoping.
But yet, it feels like, to me, another entry into Scott Nimmerfro's middle-of-the-road to bad entries in this show. And look, Scott Nimmerfro passed away, unfortunately. And so, I hate to speak ill of the dead's talents, but I feel like a lot of the episodes that we've seen that he's written have been not very good.
No, I mean, at least we were spared the comedy, because Scott tended to write the comedic episodes of Tales from the Crypt. This one is at least straight ahead, which is always preferable. And but yeah, I mean, his best writing was not done on this series. Like, he wrote a really good episode of the television series Hannibal, which I would recommend to people if they want to see what he can actually do. This one just feels of a kind with everything else we've been given this season. Like, the idea is solid, but we don't really care that much.
Well, and then again, you have interesting looking creature design that is essentially just the characters from not Dawn of the Dead, the characters from the vampires from Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even original. Like, it's so wholly unoriginal that no part of it works in the absence of the unoriginality. Even if this wasn't an unoriginal even if this was an original episode, nothing works anyways.
No.
Because Michael Ironside's criminally wasted. I mean, he gives a typical Michael Ironside's performance.
Love Michael Ironside.
Gruff. Yeah, Michael Ironside is amazing.
They sucked out his brain. Remember Starship Troopers?
See you at the party, Richter. Like, I mean, fuck, man. Come on. He's been in some of the greatest sci-fi films of all time. Scanners, Starship Troopers.
Highlander 2, The
Total
Quickening.
Recall. Wow. He plays Sam Fisher in Splinter Cell. Like, whenever I hear Michael Ironside, I hear his voice, I think of Sam Fisher in Splinter Cell. I think of his character in Starship Troopers. I'm never going to think of this. And it's a fucking shame, because this is the biggest problem with Tales from the Crypt. You have a lot of really talented actors who are wasted in, like, every episode they're in, it seems like. It's few and far between now with this show that actors are not being wasted when they come on and do a guest appearance on this show.
I think Susan Terrell, you mentioned her at the top. Like, I think she acquits herself nicely. She gives a perfect Susan Terrell performance. and always good to see her.
Whatever that means, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, it's Susan Terrell.
She gets shot in the first 5 minutes.
I know, she's
the episode,
she's great up
sure.
until then. She's not wasted. That character does what she needs to do, and she does it well. So I'll give it that. I can't recommend the episode overall, but if I were to, it's because Susan Terrell is in it, because I just love her tiny bones. She is, if for Dawn of the Dead fans out there was a documentary Roy Frumke made back in the day, like while they were filming Dawn of the Dead. It's called Document of the Dead, and Susan Terrell is the narrator, and what a voice, man. She's spectacular. And, she tends to play really grimy characters, and this is no exception, but I love her. Anyway, there you go. Her character's look in this episode is bizarre. Oh, certainly. With the blacked out teeth, which they're supposed to be broken, but they didn't bother to go ahead and make dentures or anything. So it just looks like the putty you would get in like a novelty shop, like missing tooth.
I was about to say, you and I could probably do better makeup on someone.
Yeah.
It does have a pretty good line, though.
Which is?
Yeah. It does have a pretty good line, which is, it's going to take a lot more than a lesbian vampire biker whore to ruin my day.
That's quality.
And the only reason it's a good line is because of how many superlatives there are in that fucking sentence. Lesbian biker vampire whore. Excuse me, lesbian vampire biker whore.
Works for me.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, this episode, not good.
No, skip it. Skip it.
Skip it. Big skip. Big skip.
Speaking of big skips.
So let's talk about the next episode. Yeah, let's talk about big skip. Let's talk about 99 and 44, 100% pure terror.
Yeah. Greetings, Hackenfield fans. I hope you're in the mood for a little fiendly competition. It's that time of fear again. The annual all-crypt die-cathlon. I've been working out like crazy to get ready. This year, I'm really going for the cold, kind of like the woman in tonight's tale. It's a putrid portrait of an up-and-coming young artist that's sure to leave a nasty taste on your palate. I call it 99 and 44 100% pure horror.
So it's directed by Rodman Flender. It's written by Rodman Flender. It stars Bruce Davison, speaking of Scott Nimmerfro and X-Men. This episode stars Bruce Davison and Christy Conaway.
Yeah, it does. They're in it.
Yes. And Ricky Dean Logan is in it. The horror fans out there will recognize him as the character, nice hearing from you, Carlos, from Nightmare on Elm Street. The kid who gets his ears blown up, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. He's in this for like 2 seconds. Christy Conaway plays a gold-digging wife who kills her husband, who owns a soap company. And she turns him into soap, and then she melts. And that's literally the entire fucking episode.
Sure is.
It is the fastest episode of this show I have ever seen.
It gets in there, does what it wants, and then it gets out. What it wants to give us is pure dreck, though.
And it does nothing very well.
No, I do want to say 99 and 44 100% pure terror is a mouthful, but I really like it. I mean, clearly it's based on the soap ad, but the episode is based on not Tales from the Crypt, can you believe it? It's based on Vault of Horror number 23, written by Al Feldstein and Bill Gaines, and again, drawn by the amazing Jack Davis. It's similar to what we get in that it involves a soap company and a murder, but the comic is about a guy who is the assistant to the general manager of this plant that makes soap, and the boss just gives him nothing but a hard time and is always on him, and he realizes that if the manager is gone, he'll take his job, so he kills him, chops him into pieces, throws him in the vat of soap. He makes an entire pallet of soap of his boss, and then gets the job, moves into his apartment. It's told in flashback, I should point out. And one day goes to shower and realizes he doesn't have any soap, so he uses one of the bars. Now, in the episode, they go full gore and they say that the acid is melting them. In this, a little more interesting, where it's the shower. It's one of these stand-up showers with the door that closes, and the guy...
Let's just say it for what it is. It's the kind of shower rich people have.
Yeah. And exactly. So he's in it, and he's washing with the soap of his boss, and he blinds himself with it, although he is not totally blind. It's just he's got soap in his eyes. The bar of soap drops to the ground. He slips on it, breaks his leg. The soap covers the drain, and he slowly drowns. It's much better than what we get here. I mean, I love gore, and anytime I can watch a person melt, hooray, but this is much more diabolical, what they came up with in the comic.
I think I would have really liked the alternate version of this if they had gone with what the comic book had. Me
too. Like, I mean, we talk about comeuppances all the time. This one's pretty brutal. Like, he's at the bottom of this shower. The water is slowly filling up. There's nothing he can do. He can't really move. So, bravo, Feldstein and Gaines and Jack Davis in the comic. Not so much in the televisual experience we received based on it.
Yeah, no. The way that this episode concludes is, it feels like they're trying to just go, yeah, well, look, there's gore. Yeah. Look. Oh, and by the way, we have an actress in this episode again, similarly to another thing that we're going to talk about on the next episode. Another episode of the show where you have a character who is not naked, but they are nude. And it's like, what are you doing, show? Again, it's not that I want nudity, it's just, why are you not showing it? This is Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, there's sort of a pact between viewer and maker that the show is about excess and extremes, and we should delve into those because we're going to go where the comic book couldn't, and ending up giving us sort of softcore Cinemax, which I would say even with the softcore Cinemax, you get more out of it. It gives you exactly what this is, just sort of titillation, but who cares, because I don't like the character or the actress or anyone involved. So I don't know. Would it have made it better? Probably. But, yeah, that's definitely a failing. We noticed it this season more than any season, I think, where they sort of hint at things but don't actually deliver. And it's like, are you crazy? That's what we came for.
I mean, I won't go as far as to say it's what I came for, but it's what I expect from this show.
Well, because I mean,
up until this
taboos.
Season, we had gotten a lot of it. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, sure. It's a pulp horror novel. Like, if they could have shown nudity when they originally wrote the comic, they probably would have.
They totally would have.
Yeah, but in the show, it's like, this is on HBO, and like, you should be pushing the boundaries and kind of being edgy, and it's like, you're just going to show a character in the towel, but she melts at the end. So maybe that's kind of the happy middle ground, but it's not even happy middle ground.
Yeah, I mean, that could have been a clever way to go, where they're teasing us the entire time about showing her nude, and then when they do reveal it, it's because she's melting. Like, that could have been a comment or something, but it wasn't that. It was just another rote. It's kind of a love triangle, although the character doesn't really care about either of the guys. And we get that, and we get some psychodrama that really goes nowhere. We learn a little bit about soap, and then she falls to pieces. So, hooray.
Well, she's dead at the end. So, as the audience member, the show thinks that that's all you need to do is kill the villain, and everyone's happy, and everyone can go home happy. It's like, no, I want more from this show than that. And the show has become complacent at this point. I think we can both agree.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the complacency that this show has is just not shocking, because, again, it's been on for 6 seasons. But you would think with the names involved, Zemeckis, Geiler, Hill, they would be giving a shit more, because their names are still connected to it.
Right, but at this point, they're just cashing checks. Although one of the original titans of Tales from the Crypt is on deck with the final episode.
Yeah, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But let's talk about the final episode of season 6. And again, let's just say, for sake of argument, because season 7's kind of its own thing, for all intents and purposes, this is technically the end of the show.
Yeah, certainly. I don't think if they had intended,
I don't think anyone's going to argue with us on that.
No, if they had intended to do another one, it was not going to be what we got.
Right. They did something that was so different with the 7th season by going overseas, by focusing on, an international cast, and a lot of the folks that worked on the show before weren't involved. So this is, for all intents and purposes, the final episode of the show. We're still going to cover season 7, don't get us wrong, but to put you in the mindset, You Murderer is technically the final episode of the show.
Hello. How are you? I'm Fearest Gump. Care for a chocolate? Mummy always said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Know what else Mummy said? She said, scary is as scary does. Which brings to mind the man in tonight's terror tale. He's just dying to get out of the mess he's in. Literally. It's a little piece of horrid candy I call You Murderer.
So like Father Malone mentioned, it's directed by Bob Zemeckis, our good friend, friend of the Chronicles from the Crypt podcast, Bob Zemeckis. It stars Humphrey Bogart, and no, you didn't mishear me say that. But there's no way if you watch the show you don't know about this episode, because this episode for me is kind of notorious.
Certainly.
Good and bad. It also stars John Lithgow, Isabella Rossellini, and, Sherilyn Fenn.
Sherilyn Fenn.
I mean,
yeah, let's not.
Come on.
Give her her due.
Yeah, give her a wide berth, because Twin Peaks, Sherilyn Fenn.
It's just Sherilyn Fenn, I think.
And, fuck you. I mean, is Sherilyn Fenn known for a lot of things other than Twin Peaks?
When I think of her a very brief but super powerful and amazing performance in Wild at Heart.
Yeah, but what about Twin Peaks?
Oh yeah, no. Look, man. I think.
Okay.
Of course, she's spectacular. I think if you hold up a picture of her, everyone's going to say Twin Peaks, no question.
Yeah, they're not going to say this episode.
No, why would they?
Right.
I mean,
so this episode's weird. So you have it kind of reminds me of a noir film that I watched earlier this year featuring Humphrey Bogart.
It's very close, actually. Right down to the first-person perspective.
What's the name of that film again?
The Desperate Hours.
The what?
The Desperate Hours. No, it's not. I can't actually remember.
No,
right
it's
now.
not.
It's called Dark Passage.
Dark. Is that what it is?
Yeah. He's trying to escape.
So this episode reminds me of a film that I watched earlier this year called Dark Passage that we did on another podcast that I do when we were talking about noir films. And it's a film in first-person perspective part of it where you have Humphrey Bogart changing his face to Humphrey Bogart's face in that film as well. And this is very similar, but the whole crux of this episode is pulling out your CGI wiener and slapping it on the screen. I mean, that's what it feels like. I mean, it kind of does. I mean, look, that's I have no problem saying that that's what James Cameron has been trafficking in recently in his career. Look how big I can make my CGI penis. Let me slap it against you a couple times for you to understand how big and girthy it is. Like, what the? This episode's not that bad. There are good parts in this episode, but anytime they cut to Humphrey Bogart CGI,
what a nightmare!
Boy, run, don't walk, run for the exits, because that thing is going to come out of the screen and haunt your dreams.
They may, in a lot of the shots, they may as well have just had a cardboard cutout of him on the set. Like, it would have been.
They should have just had Robert Sacchi. They had him on there anyways, and it already looks like Humphrey fucking Bogart.
Yeah, I mean, look, clearly Zemeckis is high off of Forrest Gump and what you can do with a computer, and you can manipulate things like
clearly Zemeckis is high.
Yeah, well,
period.
This is I think this episode actually marks his slow descent into CG everything, because for a while there he was only making CG movies and had sort of not officially announced, but certainly said that that's the only way he wanted to make movies from now on, and that has now reversed itself years later. But this was the first kind of attempt to take it further and see what they could do, and what they could do is garbage. The technology was not there for this. And, having just I don't know, the voice is not spot on, and certainly the visuals are absolute nightmare. It really seems like you could have just like green screened in a shot from any of the movies and it was going to look better somehow. It always looks like just the tone of the image doesn't match, and it's just
his
from
eyes.
He's
got dead eyes like a doll's eyes.
Yeah, it's a very. This is an odd experience watching this. It was super cool, I gotta say. Like back in the day when this episode first aired, and the credits come up and it says starring Humphrey Bogart, it was like, oh, that's cool. And
40 years, man. 40 years since he had been billed in anything.
Yeah, so it was kind of a bit of giddiness when you saw that. But then what we end up getting, it's just so bad.
Lifeless ghoul. The lifeless ghoul of Humphrey Bogart is stinking up the screen.
And, to that end, like, why not make it a horror thing? Because, look, this is, as one might expect, given the subject matter. You mentioned it's very noir, and it is very noir. You Murder is from Shock Suspense Stories. Shock Suspense Stories 14, written by Otto Binder, who also wrote Comes the Dawn. And this was actually drawn by Bernie Krigstein, who's not my favorite. His style is a little bit wacky, but I will point out that in this particular comic, he chose to credit himself as Dr. Caligari Krigstein. Interesting. The comic is...
It's like bat groaning, right?
Yeah. The comic is, as the episode is, first person, which is interesting. And it's this guy just walking home, and he ends up running into a mesmerist who hypnotizes him and convinces him that he has to go kill his wife's lover in front of her. If there's any sort of drama in the episode, it's that the guy is morally incapable of committing murder, so he refuses even under the sway of hypnotism, and the mesmerist ends up convincing him that the guy is a fifth columnist here to set off a nuclear bomb, and he has to die. And this all pays out. He goes and he does it. He beats the guy to death with a chain, which is pretty brutal. I don't know if he kills the wife as well, but she doesn't seem well when he leaves them. And then the last couple of panels are him waking up, and the mesmerist is in the guy's apartment, and he's saying, haven't you read the paper? You killed 2 people, and they have your fingerprints on the chain, and they're coming to get you now. And then that's the end. Imagine if that was their plan for the end of a Tales from the Crypt season and potentially the whole series. There's like... It's so beyond the pale, sort of morally. This poor guy just gets roped into this scheme, and then he has to pay for it at the end. That could have been much more interesting. Not that I wanted them to do another hypnosis or a failed showman like committing murder on his wife or whatever, but it would have been better than what we got, because we got just kind of boilerplate noir tropes and
attempts.
Attempts at it. And, some of the, look, Isabella Rossellini's fucking great. She's always good. John Lithgow, what can you say? It's John Lithgow. And even Sherilyn Fenn holds her own in the mousy kind of way. And then they do the stupidest thing ever with her character at the end, where she basically just walks up and hands them the gun. I don't know. This episode is a huge failure. Like across the board. It's got some things to recommend it. I just mentioned the actors' names. And I guess it's skillfully shot. I mean, you can't say Robert Zemeckis doesn't know how to move a camera around, but anytime we have to join it up with the horrible living corpse of Humphrey Bogart, it just nosedives yet again. Like, you end up wondering what the hell we're doing here. Why are we doing this other than as an experiment?
That's all it is. I mean, it is a literal experiment it is experimental filmmaking, because this level of repurposing the dead would not really become a thing until like 5 years ago.
True. I mean, this is
when they did Rogue One, right?
Yeah, where they actually sort of having the characters. I mean, there had been little gasps of it here and there where they were CGIing, like, Fred Astaire dancing with a vacuum cleaner back in the day.
Wasn't there a Humphrey Bogart commercial where he was like in a Zales ad?
No, he was in a Coca-Cola ad where they, I
Okay.
think they repurposed a shot from Casablanca with him sitting at the bar and they put a Coke in front of him. So it's not like it was completely unknown at the time that they did this. And certainly Zemeckis had just done it with Forrest Gump, where he has Tom Hanks interacting with John Kennedy and John Lennon, and so this is sort of the birthing ground of this kind of thing. And it's how many years later? 25 years later, it's still. The uncanny valley is undeniable,
Well, I don't even think there's anything uncanny about it. It's just the ghoulish visage of Humphrey Bogart with dead, soulless eyes and a mouth that moves like a puppet's mouth.
Yeah, you can see they tried to find lines where they didn't have to manipulate the mouth at all, like so it would fit into the plot, but it's always the most generic thing. It's not like he looks at the camera and gives us a speech. It's always someone asks a question, the camera pans to a mirror, and he says like one thing, and then back to the horrible narration and glimpses of him in mirrors for the rest of the episode.
I've never seen a character look into a fucking reflective surface so many times as I have in this episode.
It's real bad.
If this is the way this show ended, okay, let's play a theoretical thought experiment here, right? Let's say this is how the show ended. Okay? This show would have been an abject failure as a show.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can't, I haven't seen how the series actually ends yet, but this would be an ignominious way to go out, no matter how you slice it.
Considering how one of the episodes of the show is still one of my favorite 23 minutes of television, the first episode of the show.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, look, from that to this, like all the potential, all of the, every sort of element that can make the show great, and right in the first episode. And then by the time we get here, it's just like, oh boy, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like
we go from a William Sadler episode where he plays an executioner who gets executed because he's taking the law into his own hands to CGI Humphrey Bogart. How far we've fallen.
Yeah, a precipitous drop at best. It's,
shocking.
And the thing is, when you look at, say, the first season of the show, you can say that, these guys are just playing around, these filmmakers, like, this is a chance to explore and experiment and things. So, like, it's not an unprecedented move that one of these filmmakers would use this smaller format to do that, but it seemed to be serving the material, no matter how masturbatory some of those episodes ended up being. This one is pure masturbation. It's just like, I have a budget because it's an episode of the show, and here's something I want to try, and let's go ahead and do that, and find me a story that can make that happen. And then they did. It's not even laziness. It's more of an affront, because it's, like I said, it's just a filmmaker like having no regard whatever other than he wanted to do this.
Well, he didn't want to do anything other than show you something quote unquote cool. And that was my whole analogy, or kind of my, jab at the beginning of this, talking about this episode, was it's just him, it's Zemeckis flaunting his CGI penis. Like, look how much money and time I can get people to throw at something. Like, someone spent time and effort making a CGI Humphrey Bogart move his mouth like a sock puppet. Like, if I put my thumb underneath my fingers and move my thumb moves more like a human mouth.
Yeah.
It's bizarre, because you could have done this episode without showing Humphrey Bogart's fucking face. You could have done, like, nose up, or just his eyes in the mirror of the car. You didn't have to show his entire face. And you could have had the final shot of the episode be his face, but he's not talking anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Right. I mean, if they could have spent all their budget on one really fantastic shot instead of trying to give us all of these. Yeah, I mean, just realistically, does this guy look at himself this much? It's a lot.
He must.
And, it goes into any sort of first-person point of view when you choose that as your format for your film or television series or whatever. It always ends up feeling wildly unnatural, like where the camera just always pans down to what they're doing. You know, like I'm getting my keys out of my pocket, so the camera pans down and looks at the pocket and the hand going in and whatever, and it's just like, who does that? It's insane.
Well, Humphrey Bogart does in this episode.
He sure does, and will forever and always, as this is the capstone, the headstone for the American involvement with Tales from the Crypt.
What a denouement it was.
It was.
Just the final, just the kiss of shit on top of an otherwise uneven show.
Have I said skip it? Because skip this one.
Skip this one and don't look back.
Yeah. Or no, look back. Go back to the first season. And
yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. What an ignominious way to go out. Really. Just, what a shame. There's so few things that this episode does right that for me it is a total skip. It is just a bizarre exercise in flaunting your CGI and your budget. And it hasn't aged well in 2020 because now we have CGI so good that they can make fur look realistic. And even taking that out of it, it's still not a good episode. Because it doesn't do anything. Because it's so worried about showing you Humphrey Bogart's face over and over again that it doesn't even do anything else.
As clumsy an episode as Comes the Dawn is, I know it's Tales from the Crypt while I'm watching it. This one, it's Tales from the Crypt because of the people involved and because they got the banner title on it, but doesn't feel like anything of a piece with everything that we've gotten before.
And it's a skip for me.
Skip it hard.
So that's the end of season 6, folks. So you know what we do at the end of every season. We give our favorite and our least favorite episode.
Yes, indeed.
So Father Malone, which episode in season 6 stuck out to you as your least favorite episode?
Oh.
Not the worst, just your least favorite.
Probably, I'm going to say it's kind of a tie between The Pit and Revenge is the Nuts. It might be Revenge is the Nuts just comparatively, which we do a lot here, given that we already received a film version of that particular story, and it is harrowing and wonderful. And what we got here is, let's say, not. So I'll say Revenge is the Nuts is the worst of this.
For me, it is also a tie. It is a tie between Operation Friendship, featuring Peter Dobson, who is a terrible actor, and I'm not going to change my opinion on that until I see something that he's in that's good, and another episode that is just as bizarre as it is tone-deaf, The Assassin, featuring a sex-changed CIA agent.
Yeah, that
almost
one's not
fucks Corey. No, he, being Corey Feldman, almost fucks the person he's trying to kill. It's just fucking weird. I also believe that is another Scott Nimmerfro episode.
It is.
So, great. Which episode of season 6 stuck out to you as your favorite, though?
That would be Only Skin Deep. That one, I don't know how great it is, but if I think about any of the episode of the season, that one sticks out of my mind. I liked it sort of visually, and it had this weirdo kind of, we talk a lot about the show not pushing boundaries and taboos, and I think that one felt like I want a Tales from the Crypt episode to be. I'm not saying it's great, but of this season, that's the one.
I'm actually going even farther back in season 6. I'm going to talk about the first episode. My favorite episode of this season is Let the Punishment Fit the Crime, because it has Catherine O'Hara in it, and it has Peter McNichol in it.
Yeah, that I agree.
It has bad moments, namely the ending is just bogus to say the least.
Yeah.
But Catherine O'Hara is always great, and Peter McNichol, we await the word of Vigo.
He's
come on, Peter McNichol. Yeah, Peter McNichol's always good in anything. So, here's the thing. There's only 2 or 3 good episodes this season.
It wasn't like a hard won race to figure out what was really good here. There are only a handful.
Yeah. And I feel like if you hadn't said Only Skin Deep, you would have said Let the Punishment Fit the Crime.
I might have said Doctor of Horror, because I like that one
Really?
too. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, what can I tell you?
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's better than these last 3.
Certainly. Better than most of them. Like I said, it's maybe 2 or 3 episodes this season I really enjoyed.
It's a real shame to me because thinking about season 5 had some really good episodes in it.
Yeah.
Death of Some Salesman, Forever Ambergris. Well Cooked Hams has its moments. But, man, this season...
Pitiful.
Even the episode I like from this season, the episodes that I would go to bat for, are nowhere near as good as anything we saw in season 1, 2, or 3.
No.
Not even close. And it's just a damn shame because the show has fallen off so hard by this point.
Yes. This is why I'm actually hopeful for season 7. I mean, it can't be worse, right?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
I legit can't tell you. It could be worse, but I feel like that bar is set so low. There's not a whole lot that they have to do to be better. I'd like to just remember back to the days of season 4 with, Christopher Reeve, Joe Pesci, anything but where we are now. David Warner getting a dummy thrown at him.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not like the series got too self-serious or something, but there was a level of play at work in previous seasons that even if it wasn't the best plotted or shot, you could still have a bit of fun with it. And this season in particular didn't feel that way. Even when they were shooting, in fact, especially when they were shooting for sort of a lighthearted episode. Not that any of the ones I'm mentioning necessarily were, but I'm just saying there seemed to be an attempt at entertainment in some way.
Well, and again, it also feels like in the previous seasons, at least 1 through 4, 5, to some extent, it also felt like there was a lot more oversight when it came to the scripts and the quality of the show that was being put out, because those first 5 seasons are pretty damn good television from a script quality standpoint. And then as soon as you get to season 6 and the later parts of season 5, boy, it just starts nosediving.
That's, I don't think that's an uncommon problem with any television series. You start off and you've got
No, most of the time they just get too big for their britches. That's not even what happened here.
There's always a core of writers, and as the show gets more popular, they go off to do their own thing, as anyone would, and you're left with the people they hired as, assistants and stuff, and they kind of take over the ship, and their vision isn't necessarily what the original guys who kind of came to it to deliver what it's supposed to be. You have people who are just involved and they know the formula, and so they keep churning them out. And that's what the past couple of seasons have felt like.
I can't agree more. So on that note, on the next episode of Chronicles from the Crypt, we're going to be taking a look at the final Tales from the Crypt film, though it's an official Tales from the Crypt film, but technically the name is just slapped on there after the fact. We're going to be talking about 2006's Tales from the Crypt presents Ritual. So if you haven't seen it,
don't.
But listen to us talk about it, and you'll get a pretty good idea as to why you shouldn't watch it. There's a lot of things in that movie that are not great, and the way the film ends is kind of that's the worst bit of them all. Until then. I don't even want to bring it up again. So until then, where can people find you, Father Malone?
Find me over on fathermalone.com. I have a new podcast up called Dark Destinations. It's a travelogue of frightening fictional towns. You can also check out my YouTube channel, Ot5Films, OUGHTFIVEFILMS, for a bunch of content there. And you can also hear me over on Dreams for Sale, the Twilight Zone 85 podcast, which I do with Casualty Chris here and our friend, our man in Detroit, Mr. Mike White.
As for me, you can find me on Twitter at casualty_Chris. You can find the podcast on Twitter at Chronicles FTC. I do a movie podcast called The Culture Cast and a spooky paranormal true crime podcast called Scary Stories We Tell, if you want to check those out. We are also on the internet at chroniclesftc.com. Big thanks to you, our listener, and to John Kassir for doing the intro for the podcast. And we'll catch you on the next episode.